What's going on, guys? My name is Jericho, and guess what? It's raid time in Destiny 2, and I'm sure that if you're watching this, you're curious about, well, how to beat everything. My group did this blind on the first day that it came out, and it took us 16 hours. Now, most of that was figuring out the puzzles and dying repeatedly, but I had a lot of fun doing it, so let's help you guys get through it faster than we did. First things first, you're going to come to this area, and it's going to be gorgeous. It is a lovely space. And there's nothing to it. It's just a large, I'm gonna call it a maze. It's just a large maze. Run up to the top. That's how you start. There's probably some chests in there, but we didn't do too much exploring. Just run on up. Next place that you're gonna enter is the main room. You're gonna come back to this room several times, so remember how to do this. Each time that you need to advance in the raid, you're gonna come back and you're gonna have to open another door. You're gonna look on the ground. You're gonna see these square or triangles, and they're gonna have different symbols. You'll see kind of an invisible symbol floating there. There'll be an axe, there'll be a sun, there'll be a chalice, there'll be dogs, and it is your duty to collect some staves and put them on that symbol. Now, it varies. The place that you need to return the staff to will change based off of what part of the raid you're in, so keep that in mind. It will change, but the order in which you need to get the staves are very obvious. It is whatever symbol is currently popped up there, and in order to get the staff, you're going to have to find a big yellow barred homie. Now, this guy is going to have an invincible shield. It's hard to miss. They do spawn at the corners of the map, and they tend to be around the doors that have that symbol on it. So if you need to get an axe, well, go find the door that looks like it has an axe on it, and go find the guy who's invincible. This is a standard wave clear, and at this time, you're going to have some people sit and defend the stabs. You're going to have some people go out and try and get them. How do you get rid of the shield? There's going to be scions in bubbles. They're incredibly weak. One melee, run into the bubble, melee them, that will pop the shield. Then you'll have you and your friends take out the yellow bar. He'll drop a staff, and you can run that back to where your friends are defending the area and put that in the zone. Guess what? If any of the Cabal touch it, they take the staff, you got to keep going. So please make sure to defend it. You only get one revive per person this raid. Every single section that you're in, only one revive per person. What happens if you can't revive somebody? Well, after 30 seconds, everybody dies. I know. Pretty interesting mechanic, and it's actually why our raid took so long, because it would have been honestly a little bit too easy if we had unlimited revives, and it was an incredible pain in the ass. So please try not to die. Each section that resets, so once you're done this one, you can go into the next zone and you have one revive per person again. Once you unlock a door by placing all the staves on top of your area, walk through, collect your chest, and go to the next zone, which is going to be a bathhouse. Yes, a bathhouse. This one was actually pretty easy to do once you got a system down. I recommend splitting into 2 teams of 3. One team on the left-hand side, one team on the right-hand side. There's going to be 4 platforms with corresponding logos. Guess what? They're axe, sun, chalice, and dog. You're going to need these, and you're going to learn to love them quite a bit. There's going to be a floating psionic protection ball on top of every single one that will allow you not to take damage while standing in the water that is scattered around the map. We're going to have 1 person on every platform and 2 people in the middle. That's where we're going to start. While standing on the platform, you slowly lower the chain. Once the chain gets down to the bottom, these bathers, which we call them even though they're called bathers, the bathers are going to stop spawning, and you're going to get to do damage on the interior. There's some incense cages in there. You're going to shoot those, and that's how you progress. So how do you do this quickly and efficiently? The 2 people in the middle are going to start by helping the top level players with their bathers. You're just going to burst them down and go. Once that's done, you're going to switch players so you don't run out of psionic protection. Run to the middle, grab your own psionic protection, run down to the bottom area people, and relieve them of their duty. They're going to go to the middle, clear some ads, get to the psionic protection in the middle, and go to the top and relieve him of his duty. You're going to repeat this probably 3 or 4 times this cycle on each side at the same time in order to get to the phase where you can do damage to the incense cages. Now you might go, why can't you just stay on the ball that spawned? Well, it disappears after you start I guess we'll call it the stage, and you will no longer be able to just hang out in the water. So 50 seconds of time. It's important to know that the lower side, which you're looking at right now, spawns about 5 to 10 seconds later, so you can start a bit later to give you time to do this staggered weaving kind of deal. Once you guys lower the white knuckle of the chain all the way down to the ground, you're going to be able to jump in the middle of the bathhouse and start firing away at the incense. Now, while you're doing that, some bathers are going to spawn on each of the 3 incenses. I recommend having 2 people outside of the middle and 4 people doing damage. They're not that strong, so don't worry too much about it. As long as you're appropriate light level, you should be okay. Burst it down. It might take 2 to 3 rotations of doing this, but once you do, guess what? You've done it, and you can advance to the same place that you were right before this, which is another wave clear, staff searching, whatever you want to call it. Do the exact same thing you did before, follow the order in which they want you to, and you'll unlock the Pleasure Gardens, which is a stealth mission. I almost said stealth. A stealth mission. How do you beat this one? This one sucked. It is interesting. So you're going to split into 2 teams, a team of 2 and a team of 4. The team of 2 are going to notice there are light beams coming from the sky on certain rocks. These light beams are important because you're going to need to stand in those in order to, 1, see a vantage point for where you need to direct the team of 4 to sneak up and hang out. 2, you're going to need to stand there in order to use your weapon, which is, a crystal. Very Egyptian-themed stuff, you know? You're going to stand in the light in order to use your crystal, which is basically a laser beam, and you're going to use that to clear ads. I guess I should mention ads or mobs, if you didn't know, or they're the people you shoot. So, the team of 4, what is your job? Once you guys all clear out all the ads that have spawned in there, you are going to notice there is a safe zone underneath the statue directly across from the stairs you enter. There's going to be a hole in the top for you to enter. That is the only place where you're going to be safe later in this mission. So what do? Once you guys clear all the ads, spores will spawn. Where do you put these spores? Well, you're going to notice that around the map there are some flower-looking type things. It looks like the place where the spores spawn inside of the safe zone. You should probably do a mission or 2 to look around for those, but I put one on the screen for you guys. There's going to be 8 possible locations, I believe, where you can put these spores. And when you stand next to the spore, it pollinates. When you stand next to the flower, the spore pollinates it. When the flower blooms, you have about 10 seconds for a guy with a crystal to laser it, and that will give you a damage multiplier for the bosses that are roaming around. Obviously, this goes without saying, if you get seen by the bosses, you're pretty much dead. I would recommend not doing that. It is very bad, okay? So it's a stealth mission, crouch walk everywhere, and make sure you do your best not to get seen. You can stack people next to the flowers to give you more of a multiplier. If 1 person's next to it, it gives you ×1. If 2 people are next to it, it gives you ×5. If 3, I believe, it gives you ×9, and 4 ×12. The max we were able to stack in the time we had before the 6 dogs that are roaming around got restless and started spawning mobs was 36 times. And that is the recommended amount, 24 to 36 times for you to do actually any damage. The dogs have like 2 million health apiece. It's ridiculous. So when you go and pollinate the spores with your group of people, you're going to have about 3 minutes to do this before the dogs grow restless and they run to their locations, which they always go to. So keep in mind, each dog will have a specific location that they will go and stand at to howl at. And that is the time when you can damage the dogs. I mean, you can damage them anytime, but that's when you should. They stand still. It's easy to hit their crits in the head. And your job is to not kill them. Do not kill the dogs. I'm serious. Once you kill the dogs, any dog, your time outside of the safe zone gets shorter and shorter to the point where it becomes impossible. You will try and weaken all of the dogs at the same time to about a half a bar or less of health. That's going to take 2 to 3 rotations, and surprise, surprise, you only have 3 times to go back into the safe zone before it shuts you off for good. What happens if you don't make it into the safe zone during the psionic howl, which is pretty obvious when it's happening, it's loud, and your screen starts shaking? Well, you all die, or at least anybody outside of the safe zone dies. Keep in mind, you only have 1 res per person, so the less deaths, the better for this one. And your job is to lower them all down simultaneously before the final part when you kill them all at the same time. That's right, you kill them all at the same time. The people who are up top on the pillars, your job is to guide your players through the safety of the garden and not get seen. The players don't get seen either. And your job is to clear the ads that spawn every single time you pollinate a flower. So make sure you're watching out. First one is snipers. Second one are cabal. And the third one, I believe, is a mixture. So these are all, things that you can learn while playing. You're going to have to feel it out, but it requires a lot of communication. This one was frustrating because when you get seen and you're under 24 times, you're really not going to do any damage to the dogs, and you're going to have a real tough time. So all of that considered and done, keep in mind these 3 tips. All of the dogs go to the same spot. They all have their own homes, we called them. All the spores are in the same places. Each time that you start from the safe zone, there will be a spore on each side of the map, left side and right side. There will be 3 total that spawn, I believe. And, just do your sneaky stuff. Once you guys do that, you're going to be unlocking, guess what? The room you were already in before this one. Yay, do the same thing you've done before. You're experts at it. I believe in you. You're going to unlock the next one, which is a very lovely, kind of like a new parkour type thing. This one sucked to figure out. It was really hard, but I'm going to save you the trouble. You walk into the room on an elevator. That elevator is going to be important. Remember where it is. Surprise, it's in the middle of the map. There are going to be 4 stations, which are, I know, crazy. They're an axe, a chalice, a dog, and a sun. This is the best way to do this in our opinion. You're going to have an exterior team of 2 and an interior team of 4. You notice that there seems to be a track on the outside? Yeah, you're going to be doing some running. On the inside, you're going to want to have the people with the highest light level so they can clear waves as well as shoot and multitask. So what do? You're going to all stand on your platforms. If you are on a chalice platform and forgive me because I can't remember what's across, I think it might be the sun platform, you're going to have 2 people at your station. Those people are going to be there because once you do 2 wave clears, 1 of normal mobs, 1 of an orange bar mob, you are going to have a psionic ball spawn in your, underneath the arrows where you're looking. You're going to remember that you're going to send the same people every time, so run up and grab that ball, and here's where the race begins. You are in charge of running the ball through the red circle on your screen. There's 9 holes. You're going to have to jump through the one that's red. What is your job on the exterior? Your job is to tell the people on the interior which row not to shoot. I know. I said it slow so you could get it. If the circle is on any of the top row, you tell them to shoot the middle and bottom rows at the same time. Those are the arrows for the people on the inside. The exterior, all you need to do is run that ball, grab the orb that spawns in that hole that you were just looking at that's circled in red, and keep running and not die. For the people on the interior, what is your job? Your job is to synchronize yourselves and shoot the exact same time. It's like 3 to 5 bullets. Shoot the arrows at the exact same time. Why? Well, if you don't, the thing turns red and you're going to die. Everybody dies. So make sure you guys are synchronized. I want 1 at each platform because that means the one that is not being run through is going to have to just turn to his left or right, shoot at the lower arrow or the middle arrow, whatever you decide, and assist. There's going to be wave clearing at the same time. If you guys mess up and for whatever reason there is a problem and you shoot the wrong arrow or whatever, the entirety of the circles will turn red and your runner will probably die. He might not, and it is up to you to shoot the scion that spawns as a result of your mistake. You're going to go through this process 3 times. The second time for the runners, you're going to have floorboards falling out, so you got to make sure to watch where you step. The third time for the exterior people, your platform that you're going to be sitting on is going to raise up and down. It's going to be really obnoxious. It's going to try and throw your aim off. Just stay calm and hit your shots. Once you guys go through this whole situation, you're going to have the entirety of the middle elevator filled with these balls, and you're going to wave clear once more before the balls pop out. Everybody grabs a ball, and now you're all inside of the racetrack. Guess what? You're just going to have to run and jump. Now, the mix-up here is that there are only going to be 4 orbs. If you are one of the 2 people that do not get an orb, you have to get an orb on the next jump. If you don't, you die. If you die, then you have 30 seconds to be revived by your teammate, but they're going to die because then they're not getting the orb. So talk amongst yourselves. Always make sure you're rotating. It's pretty easy to figure out who needs one and who doesn't. Your orb grows brighter the less time you have. cross the finish line, dunk that bitch in there, and congrats, you did it, bud. You did it. So collect your loot and go back to the room you know and love. You're good at this. I promise you're not going to wipe, and you guys get to advance to the boss room. Now, you're going to notice 2 tunnels on either side. In order to get any of these crates, you're gonna have to do the maze. We did not do that. That is for another video. Somebody's gonna have to help us with that one because quite a maze, quite a maze. Be careful when you explore because you might end up back in the room you were just in. It'll pull your teammates out of the boss area or out of the maze, and you'll have to unlock the door again. So, now the boss fight. This guy fucking sucks. I'm just gonna say it right now, it sucks. And it sucks because you need good wave clear and you need good teamwork. So, how do you do this? It's very much like Atheon. You're going to have to split up into 2 teams of 3. 1 team of 3 with the highest light, you guys are going to be the ones dedicated to wave clear. 1 team with probably good aiming skills, you're going to be the ones spending time in some crazy-ass area. What's going to happen? Walk up, shoot the guy's chalice, it'll start the fight, he'll spawn some waves, go ahead and clear the waves. Once the wave is clear, there are going to be 4 scions spawning on top of platforms. These platforms are going to correspond with, sun and chalice and axe and dog. Now, you're going to have to kill all the scions this time, but it's important for the people outside that are going to be hanging out in the wave clear area to remember which platform is which. Why? Because when you all get sent into the zone with a clap, you're going to have to send your 3 guys out jumping into the ball that is floating there. That'll teleport them back into the space. And you're going to have to work as a team on the exterior to tell them what sign you guys don't see. Each one of you will see a specific sign on the boss's forehead. You're going to have to talk with each other, figure out which one it is, and then relay the information to the people outside, tell them which one to kill. They just run up and kill that one single scion. Once they do so, it spawns a wind barrier, and guess what? You guys will not die on the inside. If you don't tell them the right one, or if you tell them the right one too late, you will be sucked into the boss's mouth and die. You only have 1 res, you're dead. So it's not a good time. Not a good time at all. Quick note, if any of you guys die when you are teleported and in the exterior zone, you might as well wipe because that area is incredibly important. Once you guys shoot these scion projections that are in the teleported realm, you're going to also have to pay attention to these ads that are spawning. These ads will shoot a laser at you that will pop you over the barrier and kill you. So focus on those first and the projection second. You really have to be careful because this requires good timing on both parts. You have to be quick. You're going to have to do this 4 times before you get to the final area where the boss will start throwing up skulls. My advice? Stand in very close proximity to each other and blast away. No supers or grenades work on the skulls. You just have to hit your shots. Hitting these shots will give you a damage multiplier for the boss, who has about 7 trillion health, and that's not even an exaggeration. I think everybody's damage total were in the millions after this, so get above 50 at all costs. If you don't, you're going to be doing this a long time. We got 70 at our best and 45 at our worst, so it's just all about aim and making sure you hit your shots. Once you guys clear out those skulls and everybody has been wave clearing while you've been hanging out in the teleported zone, jump back in. All 4 platforms are now glowing. As a group, jump on 1 platform at a time. We went clockwise, top right to back left to top left, and shoot his crit spots, his head and then his stomach. Now, you do a lot of damage, and he will be lasering you at the same time as ads are running around underneath you. I recommend having a Warlock drop down a damage buff, and that really will help you out in the long run. But you probably have about 15 seconds of damage before he will raise his right arm. Get the fuck off the platform as soon as he starts to move it, because as soon as he moves his right arm, it will explode. You then move to the next platform, rinse and repeat. At a very, very good pace, you're going to get to do this 4 times. At a horrible pace, you're going to be here all day. So make sure you guys hit your skulls, make sure you hit your crits, use your heavy weapons like a linear fusion rifle, rocket, use your supers on it, etc. Damage is key. So now that you've done this a couple times, things are going to change. Next wave is going to spawn. He's going to do the same thing. There's going to be, different types of enemies coming. The type of element is going to cycle through from void to arc to solar, and the enemies are going to get harder for you to wave clear. On the inside of the teleported zone, Floorboards are going to fall away, so you're going to have to continuously make sure you're not getting popped up by scions. You're going to have to make sure you don't get popped up by the floorboards. You're going to make sure that you're not missing your callouts, and you're going to rinse and repeat until you get him down to 0 health. And then he gets enraged, he starts freaking out, blow all of your loads, shoot as much as possible, wipe his ass off the map, and you have completed the raid. So congrats, guys. I hope this helped everybody get through this. This was incredibly fun and frustrating to do as a team. Remember that if you guys go down and somebody doesn't have a revive to pick you up, you wipe. And remember, you only get 1 res per person, so it is very difficult. I mean, in fact, we lost after beating the entirety of the boss at the end because we didn't have any reses left, and that was truly heartbreaking. So, happy raiding. Hopefully you enjoyed. If this was informative, let me know. Hit that like button, and I will talk to you guys later for some more Destiny 2. Peace.